quite the week for mysteries, and we're finishing up with a Netflix Spanish crime drama called A Widow's Game. The story is based on a true crime, but can the movie enthrall us with all the intrigue? In a parking lot in Valencia, the body of a man is found, stabbed 7 times. Everything points to a crime of passion. The Valencia homicide unit starts an investigation that soon leads them to a suspect no one expected. So this is kind of a straightforward story, even though a small portion of it is told out of sequence. The flow of the story comes across as a dramatic documentary. And not that we're watching just a tremendous amount of interviews take place, but the storytelling just sort of unfurls, and it doesn't attempt to craft this burgeoning puzzle. We're first introduced to the crime and then watch a portion of an investigation that mainly consists of detectives listening on to phone conversations, just thanks to some wiretaps. But then these build out a lot of the actions that we're going to watch later in the movie. Now that repetition, that's unnecessary, especially when there are moments in the latter half of the film that overlay the phone conversation surveillance with the actions of the characters on both sides of the phone call. Now, this is a much more captivating way to present the narrative. Ivana Baquero, who plays Maje, the widowed main character, does an excellent job of embracing the conniving and devious persona. She appears to be sweet and unassuming, but is ultimately this scheming monster who uses her beauty, sensuality, and charm to lure in her marks and then twist them to do her bidding. As someone watching her, though, she is a tough character to like, or even embrace. We get to see her shrewd behaviors, so we're aware of the type of person she is. So no matter what type of sad puppy dog eyes she may display, we know the truth straight away. And I'm pretty sure the character is not designed to be somebody that we want to watch succeed, but she's also written and performed in a way that attempts to elicit sympathy. Rather than playing out like a thrilling detective murder mystery, we get the reveal relatively early, and then watch the story become more of a Lifetime movie of the week. Now, I know the main crux is to watch this woman, now the widow, play her manipulative games. But there's very little intrigue that's included, which reduces the suspense, thrills, and then ultimately the engagement. Especially when this clocks in at just over 2 hours, the diminished tension, it doesn't help the storytelling. The best portion of this story comes in the last 30 minutes, when we get to watch dialogue exchanges that are pointed but patient. It's like watching someone unknowingly walk themselves into a fire, and even once in the middle, they maintain the calmness and demeanor of somebody who's not being consumed by flames. And during these moments, as well as some interactions that are sprinkled throughout the story, we meet the senior detective on the case, gaining just a minuscule glimpse of her life and how that informs her actions. Now, I wanted a lot more with the detective unit. They work well together. We're told they have an awesomely high success rate when it comes to solving homicides, and we also get to watch them, briefly at least, in less stressful times, showcasing their friendship that makes them work better as a team. But we spend so little time with that team that it's difficult to form a good connection with them, other than just based on the fact that they come across as nice people. And this is a hugely important factor for one particular arc. We need to have a connection for certain story beats to be as impactful as they can be, but they're not. It's a little strange that for such a lengthy movie, the amount of detail and development on the characters is as thin as it is. Even with Maje, while we are informed of her actions, especially in the months before and after her wedding and then her husband's death, she's an enigma and unknown, going back again to how I mentioned she's difficult to connect with. But the story doesn't dive enough into her psyche so that we can gain a better understanding of her and why she functioned the way she did. And sure, because this is based on a true story, I mean, maybe the real character is also an enigma to law enforcement. But the movie, it also changes characters and details, so they could have embellished in the areas of motive or personality just to craft a more dynamic presence for Mai. Now, there's also this combo of religious pressure and small-town intrusive influences that we're told play a part in Maje's personality or actions. But outside of a few quick examples of Maje's parents and then some random bits of dialogue, there is not any good backing for why this would be such an influential element in her behaviors. I mean, maybe it's a regional thing, and because I'm not from, nor have I visited Valencia, I can't speak to how that area functions. I mean, if it is truly just a local thing, the story still should have fleshed it out more to define it so that it becomes relatable to everybody. I mean, just like in movies or shows that take place in the backwoods of Mississippi, while I've never hung out there, typically the storytelling provides enough visual and reinforcement so that I can understand why I need to stay away from any rundown shacks that could have toothless brother-sister mothers lurking inside, especially if I don't want to become their food, or maybe worse, their pet. So while the case does dive into some intriguing psychology of Mahe and how she manipulates and cajoles just about everyone, the story doesn't go deep enough for the content to be examined in a compelling manner. The acting is fine and effective, but we typically don't spend enough time with all of the other characters to form connections, which then decreases the overall story tension. The most effective and engaging sequences come towards the end, but are short-sheeted through the limited story development. This contained a lot of elements that are needed to create an engaging drama, but despite their presence, the depth was missing, shallowly crafting a tale that is ultimately a dull and uninteresting watch. There's sex, nudity, a lot of profanity, and some violence. I give A Widow's Game 2 out of 5 couches. Wasted potential, it's always such a bummer. So are there any true crime dramatizations that you've stumbled on that have actually been amazing? I would love to hear what they are in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.